Tonight, you are scrolling through a feed that knows more about you than your best friend does. You haven't even finished your coffee, and your phone already suggested a song you loved last summer. It showed you a product you searched for 3 days ago. It made you pause, then tap, then spend another 20 minutes staring at your screen. But the real answer to why you feel so compelled to keep tapping is far stranger than any algorithm. You are not using the algorithm. The algorithm is using you. And it's been doing so for tens of thousands of years. Your brain is not a machine you own. It's a system built by your ancestors to keep them alive in a world that didn't care about your comfort. Every time you check your phone, every time you like a photo, every time you feel a surge of dopamine after a notification, you are running the same ancient software that once helped your ancestors spot a predator in the grass or remember where the water was. This isn't metaphor. It's biology. Consider the human brain. It's a marvel of evolution, but it's not optimized for truth. It's optimized for survival. In the Pleistocene, a hunter-gatherer who saw a shadow in the bushes and ran was more likely to live than one who said, that might just be a rock. So your brain evolved to overreact to threats, to assume danger where there is none. That's why you still feel anxiety when you see a red notification dot. That's why your heart races when your phone buzzes. It's not because you're being attacked. It's because your brain is treating a digital ping like a lion in the grass. The neural pathways lighting up in your prefrontal cortex are the same ones your ancestors used to decide whether to flee or fight. The only difference now is that the lion is a TikTok video. This idea isn't new. It's been explored in depth by researchers like Dr. Paul Ekman, who spent decades studying microexpressions and found that humans across cultures share the same basic emotional responses: fear, anger, joy, suggesting these are hardwired, not learned. Then there's Dr. Antonio Damasio, whose work on somatic markers showed how your body and brain use past emotional experiences to guide decisions, even when you're not consciously aware of it. When you choose to scroll, you're not making a rational choice. You're being guided by emotional signals your ancestors developed to avoid starvation and predation. You're not free. You're on autopilot. And yet you keep going. You keep swiping, liking, sharing. Why? Because your brain has been trained not by a Silicon Valley engineer, but by millions of years of natural selection, to respond to novelty, to social validation, to uncertainty. These are not bugs. They're features. In the wild, the individual who noticed new plants, who paid attention to group dynamics, who stayed alert to shifts in the environment was more likely to survive. So your brain now rewards you with a hit of dopamine when you receive a like, when you see a new message, when you scroll past something surprising. That's the same circuit that once told your ancestor, that berry might be edible, or that sound could be a predator. The trigger is the same. The response is the same. The only thing that changed is the stimulus. Think about the way you feel when you get a notification. A tiny spike of anticipation, a brief tug of your attention. That's not just habit. That's your nervous system reacting to a social cue that once meant safety or danger. In ancient groups, being noticed meant inclusion. Being ignored meant exclusion. Exclusion meant vulnerability. So your brain evolved to treat attention as a reward. Today, that reward comes in the form of likes, shares, comments, but the emotional impact is identical. You're not addicted to content. You're addicted to validation. And your ancestors were addicted to the same thing, because being part of the group meant survival. This is where the story gets even more unsettling. Consider the work of Dr. Sarah Blaffer, HRDY, who studied cooperative breeding and empathy in primates. She found that human infants, unlike any other species, demand constant attention not just for survival, but for emotional connection. This wasn't a flaw. It was a strategy. The more you demanded, the more your caregivers invested in you. That bond increased your chances of survival. Fast forward to today, and you're still wired to seek connection. But now you're seeking it through screens, through curated profiles, through digital performance. You're not just feeding your need for attention, you're feeding it with data. You're training the very system that once helped your ancestors survive. And here's the twist. You are not the user. You are the product. Your behavior is being measured, analyzed, and optimized, not by some evil corporation, but by an algorithm that mimics the very mechanisms your ancestors used to survive. When you spend more time on a video, the system learns you're engaged. When you click, it learns you're interested. When you react, it learns what triggers you. It's not guessing. It's learning from you, just as your parents learned from you, just as your tribe learned from you. The only difference is that now the feedback loop is faster, more precise, and relentless. It doesn't need to wait for a season or a famine to test its models. It's constantly adapting in real time, using your every click as data. This isn't speculation. It's documented. In a 2017 study published in Nature, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania found that limiting social media use to 30 minutes a day significantly reduced feelings of loneliness and depression over 3 weeks. That's not just about screen time, it's about breaking the cycle of dopamine-driven feedback loops. Your brain wasn't designed to process this volume of stimuli. It was designed for a world of slow, meaningful interaction, not endless, algorithm-curated novelty. When you're constantly bombarded with curated images, viral trends, and instant gratification, your brain's reward system becomes desensitized. You need more to feel the same hit. That's not a weakness. That's evolution. That's what happens when you overload a system that evolved for a different world. Here's the most powerful idea of all. You're not broken. You are exactly what your ancestors were. You are an algorithm, not a digital one, but a biological one. A sequence of behaviors, feedback loops, and responses that have been refined over hundreds of thousands of years. Every time you hesitate before posting a photo, every time you reread a message, every time you scroll past something that doesn't interest you, you are running code written by your ancestors. That code says, stay alert. Stay connected. Stay safe. And now that code is being rewritten not by nature, but by you. You are the one choosing to engage. You are the one deciding what to consume. You are the one setting the parameters. So the next time you feel that urge to scroll, to check, to react, pause, ask yourself, is this a choice or is this your ancestors speaking? You are not a passive user, you are the system. And now you have the power to reprogram it. You don't have to let your brain be hijacked by an external force. You can choose to step back, to disconnect, to look up, to talk to someone in person, to spend time in silence. These aren't just habits, they're acts of resistance. They're you rewriting the ancient code. You're not just surviving anymore, you're evolving. And that's the real answer. You are not just an algorithm, you are the one who can change it.